Excellent, excellent. Listen, welcome to what I call Wow Wednesday. Wednesday is just one of them days you just gotta enjoy there, and we're excited to present today back to the basics, business building skills that never fail. And I'll tell you, right now, more important than ever, as we're coming into the 2024 market, we're in March Madness going on. A lot of things are happening out there. A lot of predictions, a lot of noise. We got to talk about focus, things like that. But first and foremost, I want you to meet the rock star panels. First and foremost, the moderator. Yes, that is me. I just will be guiding the questions. We got three amazing questions that every real estate professional wants to know right now. They really want to know sort of what does back to the basics mean. Let's talk through that. We're going to hear that from these great professionals that we've got on the panels today. A little background myself, I've been doing this business for 37 years. I'm in the Maryland market, but we're in 7 states, ultimately Maryland, Delaware, DC, Virginia, North Carolina, Florida, and Pennsylvania. But ultimately with Northrop Realty, started a team. I was #1 in the nation, and now we are a brokerage, #1 specialty brokerage in the nation. So we're proud to bring this panel together today because I am a big believer of getting back to basics. I think we've all forgotten sort of a little bit of what we can all do better, and we're going to hear that today. So without further ado, I am going to dive into Abby. Welcome, Abby. How are you?
I am good, Craig. Thanks so much for having me.
My pleasure. Tell us a little bit about you and a little bit about your organization as well.
Yeah, super excited about this topic, especially now in this day and age. Me personally, I got into the real estate business back in 2007, a prime market to get into for sure. So I've seen a couple of these storms and market shifts and changes along the way. I then thereafter moved very close to that to Illinois and got my license there. And I realized very quickly that I needed something to make me stand out in a new market, not knowing anybody. And I teamed up with a relatively new company at the time called Homes for Heroes.
Nice.
And I learned firsthand just how powerful it can be coupling your profession with a bigger purpose and serving community members that you're helping to grow that community in through our real estate profession, and just how much of a profound impact that can make in your business too. And it's been full throttle ever since then. Right now, I currently serve as the national director. I've got the honor and privilege to coach and train our real estate professionals all over the country on how they can use the power of our cause marketing that we do here at Homes for Heroes, give back to their local community heroes, and grow their business quite rapidly at the same time, and just how fulfilling and life-changing that can be for them in their lives and in their professions.
I love it. Homes for Heroes, what a great name. We obviously thank them all for what they do and we could, Homes Heroes really kind of really sums that up. I love it that way. Very much about giving back to the community. With that, let's go over to Art. Art, how are you, Art?
I'm doing well, Craig. Thanks for having me. I appreciate the opportunity.
My pleasure. Let's tell us a little bit about yourself.
Yes, definitely. Art Obleton, eXp Realty. I've been a realtor for 10 years, licensed in 2013. Really been growing a business and growing. I began to work, I just came from Keller Williams Realty, Keller Williams, and where I began to develop a team and grow a team. And then what I'm doing now mainly is developing agents and training them, coaching them, helping them become better realtors, developing their business. I've had some accolades, a Real Producer magazine a few times, actually once, and to name 3 of the last 4 years. But just helping these agents grow their team and model entrepreneurship to their children, to their community, and seeing what it's like to have your own business. I enjoy having my business. I like teaching people how to have their business and grow their business. And it's a new life. It's exciting. Real estate is exciting. It's fun. And so a lot of people like it, and we're just helping them to grow and develop themselves as people, individuals in their community and amongst their families.
Love it. Well said. As real estate agents, we are CEOs of our own business, right? I mean, that's it. We're all independent contractors in that way. And so it's a really good point, Art. Welcome. Excited to see that. And then without further ado, Kelly. Let's talk about Kelly there. How are you? Sorry. There you go, Kelly. and just wanted to see a little bit of your background.
Yeah, absolutely. My name is Kelly Sand. I'm a realtor with Century 21 Morrison Realty in Bismarck, North Dakota. I am on a team that we started in 2020. Prior to that, I did have experience in related fields. I had construction experience. I was in design and construction for 10 years. And then actually made a complete 180 over to financial advising. And I finally found a home in real estate. I feel it's the best marriage between those two things. So I'm able to provide insight from a lot of different views. I love working on a team, and I can, kind of explain why later, but that is me in a nutshell. I've written a couple books and love doing outdoor stuff.
What's the name of one of your books?
I actually wrote the financial literacy program for the North Dakota Department of Corrections and Rehabilitation. Wow. So it's the program that they teach their residents. And then I have a children's book, so.
Love that. Well, fantastic. Congratulations on that there. So let's dive in. Great. This is like what I call a rock star panel. We're going to really kind of talk about sort of the questions here that we all there. And then at the end, we're going to do question and answer. So feel free to ask the panelists anything you'd like to ask them. There's going to be a lot of information, a little bit of time. And we're really going to just dive into what is really the theme of this is, back to the basics. What does the term back to the basics mean to you and your business, right? And Kelly, we're going to stay right there with you, kind of talk about what it feels like there. What's it mean? We all say it. One of the things that Buffini's been saying is that 65% of the business is all going to happen in the second part of the year. That's his theory. And I think the theory, which again, Buffini and I started around the same time, I think his theory is right, but what we're all missing in the conversation is the market starts now, though. You can't have 65% of your business done in the second half if you don't do something about it now. And I think that really sums up what back to basics starts to mean. But what does it mean to you, Kelly?
You're absolutely right, because there needs to be some major business planning going on in order for that business to come from it in the future, especially because we are working with clients for so long, and we have different deadlines to meet. Lenders need their time, appraisers need their time, that type of thing. So yes, business planning in real estate is huge, and I think sometimes when people are self-employed, they kind of forget that. The business planning happens at the large corporations, right? But it needs to happen with us too. So I think, back to the basics comes down to consistency and reliability in your work, your systems, and your processes, and then also in your brand. So, when I talk about like your quality of work or your systems and processes, I feel that most of our clients are either clients that we've worked with on previous transactions, referrals from them, referrals from lenders, our natural marketer, SOI. So we know these people that we're working with. And then I feel whenever these people come to work with us, their expectations are going to be set by whoever referred them. And so every person that you walk through a door, I should say, needs to have the same experience, right? We need to set that expectation. We either need to meet it or we need to exceed it. We can't give, someone superb service and then have an off week and, maybe not deliver that for someone else. So I think your consistency and reliability in your work and your processes is huge. And then I think consistency in your brand is a big deal too. And when I say your brand, I'm talking about, not only the visual, your marketing and your graphics and things like that, which is all very important, but also like Abby was saying earlier, what you stand for. If you want to be known as the Homes for Heroes realtor, for instance, in your area, it's a great example. It's going to take so long for people to coincide your name with that realtor. If you think about farming, for an example, when you send out postcards to random neighborhoods, think of how long it takes for those to produce any business. It's 12 to 18 months. So if you're going to shout from the rooftops that you are the Home for Heroes realtor in your area, even though half your realtors might participate in it, if you want to be the Homes for Heroes realtor or the animal shelter realtor or whoever it may be, I mean, you've got to shout that from the rooftops for 12 to 18 months, and then you also have to maintain that, and you just have to keep going on it. It doesn't have to be complicated. You don't have to think of new flashy things to set yourself apart every week. You just need to be consistent for a long period of time.
I love that. Let's talk a little bit. Let's break that down for a minute. 12 to 18 months, they get any results from postcards. I think one of the things, I love that statement. I think that's actually pretty relevant. Here's the deal. A lot of agents, what they do is they stick out one postcard or they do one thing and they just stop. And they think, well, I didn't get any results from that, so I'll stop. That is the number one problem. Why real estate agents go like this. It's a roller coaster,
Correct.
right? It's why they're like happy one day, upset the next. Feel like they're rich one day, broke the next.
You cannot do one push-up and have that do anything. One push-up is not going to do anything.
Yeah, exactly.
One mile run is not going to do anything. It's the same thing here.
Yes, and it's true. And so, I call it the 3 C's to close a sale, right? You got to care first, right? We all care. It's certainly first important. They'll know, they don't care what you know until they know that you care, right? So that's the first thing. Second is consistency. And consistency, to your point, consistency, period, in whatever you do in your marketing, whatever you do in your word, whatever you do in your practice, right? I think it's very important. And then the last is confidence. And I think confidence is that. If you don't have the 3 C's for a close, you will lose the sale, right? And I think that's really just the understanding that. I like that. I think it makes good sense. I hope people hear that because it isn't relevant right now and it's not happening. So I think we need to get back to that a little bit more. Great point, Kelly. All right, we're going to dive into you. All right, let's talk a little bit about it. Back to basic. What's it mean to you and your business?
Back to the basics means when I think about how I really got started, I remember a time some time ago, I was actually having a conversation with a young pastor years ago. And he said, Art, he asked me a question, why are poor people poor? And without thinking much about it, I didn't know much about coaching and self-help books. I just said, because of the way they think. And he said, exactly. And so when I think about it, I think about in terms of mindset. That is a big part for me, mindset. I mean, in a world where things are pretty negative for the most part, where there's a lot of bad news regarding real estate a lot of times. So I have to really insulate my mind with positivity, and that would really help me. I was a substitute teacher before I became a realtor. So I mean, just imagine what I was, having a college degree with a business degree and working as a substitute teacher. So I really had to turn things around. I didn't come from a situation where I was successful in my previous career. I had to really turn my thinking around, change my mindset. Your altitude determines your attitude. Your attitude determines your altitude. So I began to really work on, I focus even every day, my Bible, prayer, and self-help. And I have to really bombard myself with positivity, the people I associate with, people who not are just winning, but people who know how to win, people who know that they can turn a situation around and look at a situation in their business and other people and coach them and train them. And so I began to work on my mindset. I think people really need to have a very positive mindset when everything around them can be negative, and focus on that. And then, of course, I have to do things like focus on the 20% that gives me the 80% results, like the great Italian economist, the Pareto. Focus on the 20% that's going to give you the 80% of the results. And so, for example, where does your business come from? Identify where your business comes from, and then focus on that and just be intense about that. I'm in Ohio. The great football coach Urban Meyer for Ohio State Buckeyes. He said, on a football play, focus is every 6 seconds. Every 6 seconds, be intense, fly to the ball every 6 seconds. So if I can shorten the year, shorten my plan down to what are the basic things I need to do to be successful, and make it clear. There's a lot of noise going on. You got to drown out the noise, stay focused. With me, my morning routine, my Bible, my prayer, my self-help book, and then I do my lead generating. A lot of things will begin to help work from there. We'll begin to turn around there, because it puts me in the right mindset that now when I'm making the calls, I'm believing in positive that things will actually happen and go my way. There have been so many times we've done things where we're doing the right activities, but if we don't have the right mindset, or we're negative, we're kind of down, doesn't feel good, our results aren't there. So a lot of it is mindset and focus on what really have gotten you this far.
It's interesting. I 100% agree with you. Mindset. I think where it starts is every morning. There's a great book, Hal Elrod, friend of mine, wrote Miracle Morning. Great book. Highly recommend it. it does talk about how you start your day. He has what's called savers. He breaks it down that way. But for me, it's about the 20-20-20 principle. It's 20 minutes of reading, 20 minutes of reflecting, and 20 minutes of, goal planning. And I think with that, 97% of all thoughts are negative, right? That's the challenge. So you got to start, instead of listening to yourself, you got to start talking to yourself. You got to really kind of ingrain that, because you own the morning, you own the day. And it is a lot about that. And a lot of people, a lot of negative, we call it energy suckers or energy givers, right? And that's sort of that breakup. And 80% of the people don't care that you have the problems, and the 20% are glad you have problems. So you really, it's kind of a interesting thought. I like the mindset. I like the consistency. Abby, let's take it from there. Back to basic. What's that mean for you and your business?
Yeah, I couldn't agree with Kelly and Art and Craig, what you just shared more. It's just kind of rounding it out. For us, it's becoming a true master of your craft, right? And Kelly and Art both touched on ways to do that. It takes all of it, right? You've got to have a really strong business acumen. You've got to have super clarity around where you're going and what are the impact activities that you need to do to help you get there. You've got to have the right mindset in place to help you get to where you're wanting to go. Wherever you're focused is typically where you're going to go. So in a market like this, especially, Kelly mentioned this earlier, right? What you are doing now is what's going to show up a year and a half later for us. And the whole reap what you sow implies that you're actually planting seeds right now. Otherwise, there's nothing to reap and be fruitful for and harvest at the end of the day. So just really mastering your craft, doing the impact and the revenue generating activities, doing the education, right? Getting yourself up to where you need to be a successful real estate specialist. For us specifically, it's differentiation and carving out a niche. That's having that clarity about where you're going to go, who you're going to work with, knowing your target audience like they know themselves, so that you can speak to them, so that you can represent them, so that you can speak to their problems and challenges they may have, and how you can help them come up with a solution to get to where they're wanting to go in their home ownership goals. Differentiating in a niche that can get you through a challenging market and becoming that true specialist to really pull people in. We talk a lot about sphere of influence, right? I didn't have that luxury coming into a new market, but once you build that and you get the referral sources, you're starting to attract your own tribe, and you do get the referrals. And it can be a really sweet way, if you know what your niche is, if you stay focused and stay consistent on doing all of those revenue generating activities that we need to do. Let's be honest, it's not sexy, right? Systems, processes, tools, actually doing it and being in the grind day after day. It takes diligence and focus and a strong mindset to be able to do all the things day in and day out that ultimately will reap the benefits from a year from now.
I love it. Your vibe attracts your tribe, right? That's the thoughts. Confidence is contagious. So is energy. And I think, we call it the E&O insurance. We all buy it. Being in real estate, it's called energy and optimism. That really is it. And that's really what will kind of get you there. You really mentioned something, diving right into our next question about sphere of influence. How do you stay connected with them? Really would be the question. Obviously you talk about building it, which is very important. I call it gold in these hills. We all have it. We know somebody today that's going to move. One out of every 3 people we know this year is going to move. 1 out of every 3 people we know this year is going to move. We're in an election year. The interest rate's going to come down. There's a lot of pent-up seller demand. There's a lot of great things. I told one of our accountability groups that we're just doing it today earlier. I said, get your treadmill out, because it's getting ready to happen, right? So you got to be ready, and be ready for a market. Are we ready for that? Are we really ready? And that's the questions. But first, it starts with the sphere of influence. Abby, talk to me a little bit about that. How do you stay connected?
Yeah, we teach and train our people to do this a lot, right? For us, it's all about going deep, not wide, into your sphere of influence, or your hero niche, if you will, specifically. We start out with coming from a place of gratitude. Every action that we do, every way that we say something online and social media, every conversation that we have with a client, whether it's a hero or not, always starts from a place of gratitude. Thank you so much for your service. Thank you for all that you do. And then just cultivating experiences around that, right? It can be a client appreciation party. We do a lot of pop buys, popping into police stations, fire stations, schools, healthcare facilities, all those kinds of things, staying front and center. Craig, you said this earlier, right? People don't care how much you know until they know how much you care. Right. If you can come from a place of gratitude and appreciation for what they're doing and shine a spotlight on them as opposed to the standard, oh, look at me, look what I just sold, look how many houses I sold last year, all those kinds of things. Really bring the client into that conversation and make them a part of that. We do that with our circle of giving, and Art mentioned that earlier with him giving back to the community, right? We do it with our nonprofit foundation that serves heroes in need. So if you can pull your clients in and make them feel a part of that experience and do all the activities that can bring them in to that, that is one of the most biggest return on investments for diving back in, going deep, not wide with your sphere. It makes an impact.
Excellent, Abby, fantastic. Well said there. Love that. Art, I'm going to dive right back into you. Talk to me a little bit about sphere of influence. What does it mean to you? How do you connecting with them?
Yes, well, we do our Facebook posts as usual. One thing I've done that helps me a lot is actually with my sphere of influence, and we know about 70% of our business comes from our sphere of influence. So I have all my contacts in my phone, and I send out a regular text campaign to them, just staying in touch, updating them on the market, coming from a place of contribution, communicating with them in terms of reaching out to sellers and reaching out to buyers, seeing what their needs are. Wes, that's one touch that I do regularly. So I do that regularly. Another thing that I've done, and I think I've done fairly well, was stay in touch with the loan officers, those who I've done business with, my partners. Like, for example, I have loan officers I've done quite a few deals with over the years, and just staying in touch with them, staying top of mind. I do that, and I send business to them. They reciprocate also. Another thing I do, just like Abby mentioned, the pop buys. Pop buys every Christmas season, and then I'll do it on Mother's Day and Father's Day, and just staying in touch with them in terms of that way. There's a book entitled I forget the title, Giftology, I think it is. And in Giftology it says, we all expect a Christmas gift, or we expect a birthday gift, or a certain celebration. But the gift that people like the most and that gives them the most emotion are the gifts when they're unexpected. If you just stop by somebody's house out of the blue and just give them pretty much anything, they're excited about that. And so that brings an emotional connection with that person, and letting them know you haven't forgot about them. Just letting them know you're not transactional. You're not just another transaction to me, or another deal that I've done. I'm staying in touch with you. I'm remembering you. And then also the typical phone call and staying in touch with them. Like, for example, I have a listing appointment that I've scheduled, that I have coming up here pretty soon, where I have a friend who is a contractor, and I stay in touch with him, and he does a lot of real estate. So I've never done a real estate transaction with him, but every once in a while I'll just call him, or if I have them a pricey home, I'll tell him, hey, it's time for you to move. I got this house for you. Just really like nonchalant, just talking to him. And I called him and said, and just have the conversation. He says, you know what? I do have a house I want to list. So I was just joking with the guy.
Pick up the phone.
Yeah. I'm talking to him, but he's never listed a property with me, but out of the blue, just because it's bringing the conversation up regularly and just talking to him, he said, you know what? I'm gonna let you list this property, and it's prime real estate here in Greater Cleveland.
I love it. One of the things I'm going to share a little bit is top 10 things you can get to do today to get more business. And one of them, just to highlight one of them right now, because you mentioned Facebook, you can set a VIP account in Facebook and have just your clients on it. And then you can do certain things like raffles or contests or stuff. It's just another way to keep your personal clients together and get it a little bit hip on social as well. So it's just another idea that came up when you brought that up, but really a VIP for your clients, and they feel special too. I think it's just kind of a neat thought of one of the 10 that I will talk about. But let's dive in, Kelly, there. Let's dive into you a little bit. Talk to me about sphere of influence. I know you have some systems on that as well. Let's hear from you on this topic.
Yeah. First and foremost, it's everyone's nightmare that they don't want to think about, and that is being consistent and constantly utilizing your database. I hate to even call it a database because they're people, right? But for our intents and purposes that we're discussing here, we're going to maintain our database, and we're going to make sure that we are constantly updating that. There's plenty of them that will automatically pop up and remind you, like, contact these 5 people this week, and at that point, it's up to you to pick up the phone, and it's up to you to make that action. But we do have pop-bys that we do quarterly. We try to go to businesses consistently, so then it becomes, when we walk in the door, they know they can rely on us, that we're going to show up in another 3 months. So that has been fun. We've gotten really good results with that. Those pop-bys we try to do to businesses, because if it's something that they can have in their break room or whatnot, then we're benefiting more than just one person. We're benefiting the whole office. So that's been really great. Yeah, and then, when you're in a business then too, if you pop by someone's house, they may not be, buying or selling might not even be on their mind right now. Maybe they have a kid graduating and they could care less about buying or selling right now because they have other stuff to focus on. But if you're popping into an office, maybe their neighbor is in the opposite situation, right? So we want to talk about that. And then note cards, again, when I say just pick up the phone and make the connection, you can also send a note card. That kind of goes back to the unexpected gift as well. And Art, I'm going to read that book. Thank you for that recommendation. But when someone gets a handwritten note card in the mail, they don't get those anymore. And it's kind of nice, and they might keep it for a while, and it'll remind them of you. And then social media too. We're very consistent about posting. We do post every day, and we try to bring something of value. So it's not just, like Abby was saying, it's not just, hey, look at us, look what we did. When we do a closing post, of course, yes, we help that client get to the end, but the post is about the client and about their story, with the exception of confidentiality. But, we talk about how it's impacting their life, not our bottom line, because that does not matter. And that's not something that we want to talk about on social media. So, we make it about the clients, or we bring them stuff of value, either market statistics or tips and tricks, something that someone can connect with and get out of it. And then too, we do our newsletter. We customize that. I know there's a lot of companies that have newsletters already done. You just fill in your name and stuff at the bottom, and then you shoot it out. But I don't want to get another email that tells me it's National Donut Day. I don't care. Now I want a donut, darn it. No, I'm kidding. But we put content in there that's going to, it kind of has a mix of art and science, so it can connect with multiple people. Those analytical people that want all the stats and the absorption rates and all the things, we'll have that there. And then the people that want to know community events, or what the latest trends are in interior design, stuff like that. There's all types of people, thank goodness. And so we try to connect with all of them in that aspect.
No, I think it's fantastic. People before profit. Very passionate about that. I think that's very good. Popeye by the business. Listen, I know I'm all about Popeyes. We do a lot of the Buffini stuff. Fun story about Popeye. We did leaf bags at the fall time, right? And I'm going to some of my clients bring leaf bags. They put it out and they take it to wherever they take it. Irrelevant of that. The point is some neighbor was out there just doing his leaves, and I handed him to him, and he remembered 3 years later. He walked into my office and said, 3 years later, I remember when you handed me that bag, and I want to use you with my services. Like, it's kind of like, it is a memorable thing. And then to put the business in, it's like sending flowers to someone, and everybody goes, oh, who got the flowers, right? I mean, I really like the Popeye business. I think that's a really smart move. And also another thing, we use a lot of vendors, right? In all of our business, we have lots of vendors. What about a vendor type of event? Why not bring we do client events, but why not do a vendor event? Why not thank them, for their businesses and services, and then that become a bigger referral source for us. I mean, I think that kind of ties into some of the things that you guys are talking about in that way. I just find that again, do something is really what it comes down to. Don't forget your sphere of influence, because we all tend to forget where we came from. You know, we get busy. We're all worried about what's new, what's next, what's shiny, whatever. But it really does come back to touching back with your past clients and getting. Do you do testimonials or things like that, Kelly?
We do. We end up sending out surveys, and we have a buyer's guide and a seller's guide that we've published, and we do have a page on the back of that that has links to our testimonial pages and things like that. So yes, we do share those from time to time as well. That's a good point. And two, I just want to touch on the leaf bag thing you talked about, right? A leaf bag is probably about the least flashy thing you could ever think of.
That's right.
But he remembered it, so if people are talking about you and saying that realtor that brings the leaf bags by, I mean, that's a great thing to be known for. That's fine. But think of how long you have to do that in order to become the realtor that brings the leaf bags by. It does not have to be flashy. You just keep doing it.
I totally agree. I think, again, it comes down to letting your clients know who and what you're about, that you're here for them. And then I think it is important for others to hear from other satisfied clients. So I'm big about the testimonials. We're #1 in the nation for 5-star Zillow reviews. I believe that that is a way of kind of letting people raving fans and that you do good services. But there's also the thing that we have one of our top agents in the company. Every day he's just texting his past clients saying, hey, just checking in. How are you? What's going on? He has the best check-in rate and best return rate probably that I've seen in anyone's businesses, because he's, it's consistent. You're back to your consistency, right? You're touching base, and it's just a conversation. Conversations become conversions. Conversions become contracts, right? It all starts that way. We got to reach out better. We got to do more of it. So with that, let's stay there, Kelly, again with you, and just talk about business skills you've acquired through the experiences. How long have you been doing this again?
I've only been doing this since 2020.
2020. So let's call it the 40 years.
Yep.
And so within the 40 years, talk about the experiences you've learned and what results have really happened. Because in my eyes, there are the rookies, the veterans, and then I call them the seasoned rookies. And I think the seasoned rookies are, hey, you can't forget where you came from. You can't forget the things you did back to get these listings. Another fun story, one of my agents, they basically, we have like 400 agents here. So one of the agents goes, I sent out these not postcards, I sent out letters, handwritten letters. Love them. I highly recommend them. And I got 5 listings from it. I said, great, congratulations. I said, when are you going to do it again? Oh, I wasn't thinking about doing it again. It worked the first time, right? And then I've asked her year after year, and she just, she got the great result, but never did it again. We've got to stay consistent. So let me go back to that. Kelly, talk to me a little bit about your, what experience you've learned that you can pass on to others.
Sure. Honestly, the biggest thing that is advantageous to me and my team is the fact that we are a team. And I know everyone that runs the team does
how many
that.
team members?
5.
5 team members. You're the team leader?
No, Melanie Steiger, she is our team leader. She's been doing this the longest of us.
I got you. Okay.
But we are structured. I know everyone that runs a team says that it's the way to go. We're structured way differently than most teams. We are not that brokerage within a brokerage, is how a lot of them are set up. All 5 of us share in every single transaction as far as commissions go, but we're all going to have different duties. We all have a different split that we're at based on how long we've been in the business, our work schedule and availability, that type of thing, and the amount of contacts and clients that we're bringing in. So we're all set at a split, and then we get that split for every single transaction. By doing it that way, we are not in competition with each other. There are a lot of teams out there that, they work together great, and they go to their meetings and they are able to share expenses by advertising on a billboard together or what have you, but we are not in competition with each other. So every day we're building each other up and going about it in that way. The other thing that helps us with is our time management and our cash flow. So by having the team that we're all participating in, we're spreading out our risk, right? Because we have 5 different SOIs. And we also, we're doing more transactions, we're getting a smaller percentage of it, but that really helps with our cash flow. So when you are at peace with your time management and you can have a life because you have team members you can rely on, and when you are at peace from a financial standpoint because you have that cash flow, that reliable cash flow that people with jobs can depend on, with normal jobs, right? It just goes a long way in your communication and your presence and the way you carry yourself, and your clients see that. It really elevates your confidence. We have certain nights that we're on call. And so that way we know we can plan stuff. We know we're not going to be called into last minute showings. We have a rotation for weekends for showings and open houses, and it works wonderfully because then we can also focus on other stuff when we're at home. The other thing it allows us to do is work within our strengths. Because as realtors, we have to be good at so many different things. You know, we get questions from taxes to, you know, law questions, which of course we disclose we're not, but you know, we know enough to be dangerous, right? But then we also, apparently now we have to be professional videographers, in case you guys didn't know, and everything in between, right? And so this way we can all work on our strengths. So I actually focus on our our commercial relationship management, and then I do our business management and our marketing. And then I have 3 gals that focus on our residential relationships, and they do the showings and the listing appointments and all those things. And then we have a gal that focuses on our admin and our paperwork and our compliance. And together we're able to get a lot accomplished because we've all become experts in our lane, and then we can be way more efficient at what we're doing and get better at those few tasks. So that has been super helpful. And then the other thing too is we do have our weekly meeting. We use the EOS system. So we have our level 10 meeting, and it is so important. That has probably transformed our team the most as far as productivity and communication. And I feel that if you're an independent agent, you still have to have your weekly team meeting, which I know sounds really weird. You don't have to talk, it's fine, or you can shut your door, but you do have to do that check-in, you know, with your marketing person, with your salesperson, and with your transaction, your TC. They all might happen to be you, but you know, do it weekly and make sure you're on top of your stuff, and that's going to provide consistency then.
No, I love it. I said, you know, again, I ran a team for a long time. I call it your team by name or team by nature, and I think you have found a way. It's kind of interesting. I don't think I've ever heard that concept, and I like the concept because it's then you're all in the same boat. You know, it's like the man in his boat, right? You're all rowing the same way. You're all on the same pages, and you're not per se competing with each other. Again, the team is a couple of things. It's called, you know, time and energy is worth more than money, right? And building a team can help do that, right? Because it can offset some things. People can help you. And your way, everyone's benefiting from the transaction. So therefore, why not? It's not like you're asking for a favor. It's actually part of their position as a team.
Correct. Everyone has that vested interest. And then it makes our clients feel better too, just knowing that there's always going to be someone there for us, you know, for them. I mean, we joke that we're available 20 hours a day because Melanie gets up at 3 o'clock in the morning, and then some of us are going to bed at 11 or 12. So, I mean, it's, yeah.
That's fantastic. Well, excellent there. Let's dive a little. Art, talk to me again. Your team too, right? Do you have official team?
Yes, yes. So the AL group, we have a team. So the strategy I've used and what I've learned a lot in terms of developing a team and what the skills I've developed is I have in creating a team, I have learned to leverage people to get more done. Of course, there's a concept that helps in the team. And really what I began to do is I learned I was actually coaching and training and teaching without just thinking about having a team anyway, just helping people. And so when I got into the mindset of just helping other agents better themselves and better their business and coaching them and training them and teaching them about real estate, then I was able to help them do more deals and do more transactions, help more families, put them in homes, sell more properties. And then as a result, I help myself too. So I learned not to try to have all of the commission or make all the money yourself or sell all the houses yourself. I can actually sell more houses by helping other people and training them, and they can go out and do it. I can sell vicariously through them. And so And like I say, they're developing their sphere of influence, their database or data bank, and creating more client base. And then what I'm doing, I begin to teach them how to tap into their SOI, how to get the most out of that, find out where their business is coming from, and develop that and the scripts and the training to get that the business from those sphere influences. And so I began to do that. And so leverage was so important to me, to learn to leverage other people to do things and to share, to be just having a mindset of just sharing and just sharing the business and sharing the commission. And doing that, I was able to focus more on what helps me with the 20%, back to that 20%, right? So doing the 20%, that's going to drive most of the business. And so with me, I'm primarily the listing specialist. I list buyers that I know that are looking to buy, or leads I get looking to buy. I've trained the buyer's agents to be able to show those houses and work with those buyers and write those offers. I'll review the contracts and look it over and make sure everything is fine, and then they'll submit the offers. So, and they're still in communication with the buyer through the process. And of course, we have our virtual assistant who helps with that process and all the clerical and administrative tasks. So leverage was huge to me, and just growing to the point that I can just do more through other people. You know, they say if you want to go fast, go alone. If you want to go far, go with somebody else. So teamwork, everybody does more together with a team.
No, totally. That's what together is. You know, that's what team analogy is. Together, everyone achieves more, right? That's the team. But, you know, when you think about it, you know, and your points about training, first of all, we're big about training. That's actually, we have a whole Northrop University for training. The theory is, if I can get you what you want, I always get what I want, right? That's a Zig Ziglar quote, right? And I think it is so important in the I call it the new normal of real estate, that you get more experience than you ever had before. Everyone should be a lifetime learner. Everyone can learn something every day. I do. I learn things just by listening to all of you. You know, so all of that with understood, this is the values of getting better and sharing your experiences and guiding and training, Art. And I really think you do a great job of that, by the way. So keep up the great work there. Abby, let's bring it home with a little bit of your thoughts there, and then we're going to hit any questions, any things, please hit in the chats or let us know on questions on any of the panelists. But Abby, let's talk to you about your thoughts on that question.
Yeah, so business skills that we've acquired to help us. First of all, Kelly, I smiled when you mentioned EOS. We run on traction. We have an L10. We've got scorecards and know all the things and where we're going. I love that clarity and the vision for sure. But for me, it's probably two things that we really focus on. Art and Kelly actually have touched on this in an undertone. And the first one is to know yourself, right? You've got to know who you are as a person. You have to know your strengths and your weaknesses and where you need to either add more people in or get some extra help. You can do it through virtual assistants, like Art mentioned. Craig, you did the same thing with the card and then doing handwritten notes once. Well, if it's not something that you love doing and it's not something that you're good at, you're never going to be consistent doing it. But you have to know that about yourself first and foremost before you start taking action paths down places. So know your strengths, know what you love doing, know what you're good at doing, and focus on doing those activities for that. So know yourself first, for sure. And the second one really goes to our mission, but it also goes to getting through a challenging market. And that's learn how to couple your profession with a purpose, with something bigger than what you do for a living. Having that fuel and that motivation to know that you're making a positive impact in the lives of so many people. Well, yes, we do that in real estate. Do it beyond that, whether you're passionate about giving back to first responders like we do, whether you're passionate about animals and rescuing them. It can be kids, like big brothers, big sisters, like stand on something so that at the end of the day, when you're going through a market shift in a challenging time, you are jazzed to get out of bed, show up, do the mundane things that are going to help you get through that challenging market, because you're being fueled by something bigger than just the what you do. It's really, it should deeply resonate with why you do it. and that will help motivate you and fuel you through anything that this industry can throw at you.
Well said. I mean, I think, find a purpose. I think giving back to communities, doing good things for great people, letting them know. I mean, the better the community, the more value it is, more people want to move there, right? It's just like anything else. We have a called North of Cares campaigns, right? That we basically do a day of just giving back to different services in all of our areas. But most importantly, we supported last year we did Patriot Point, which was wounded warriors. We built a greenhouse for them, and I totally agree. Do something different. We all understand what we do, but we also realize, well, what does our business help to for the community? What else can we do to support everyone else out there? And I think that's so relevant. I think we all need to remember that in why and what we do, and the purpose comes back to it. So Abby, well done.
I think it's how you differentiate yourself too. I love the Simon Sinek book, Start With Why. It's a completely different communication technique. Everybody starts with what they do and then they share how they do it. The majority of agents out there have that as their profile, right? I help you achieve your homeownership goals. I do so by having expert industry knowledge, white glove service, and integrity, and all these things. Like, it's the same message. When you can start with something bigger, like, here's why I'm doing this, why it's so important for me to help people achieve their homeownership goals. Maybe it's why I want to give back in some way. And then you segue into what it is that you actually do. It pulls people in and deeply resonates with, Simon talks about it, the limbic system of your brain, and what resonates with trust, and why people lean in and feel connected and feel like they want to do something with you and choose you as their ultimate real estate agent. When you can have that, it's a game changer in your business.
I think it is, and I think the why is, why do we do this business? Why is that? And I guess the real last question is, we're going to go around real quick, and if anybody out there has any questions for any of these panels, feel free to put in the chat or let us know, and we'll certainly can do that. It is taped, by the way, so everything will also be sent out afterwards. But Abby, we're going to start with you and then wrap it up in the round. One really important thing when you think of back to the basics, when you think about sphere of influence, when you think about your business in general, what is that one thing you would want people to take away from today that would make it memorable for this, for this webinar today?
In a very short phrase, do
Yes.
you consistently.
Okay, I gotta write that down. All right, so do you consistently.
Yeah.
I mean, guys, that should be on everyone's wall, right? I mean, that's a really good one. I like that a lot. It feels good. I'll let you talk a little further about that real quick.
It plays to what we were just talking about and sharing, right? Knowing who you are, playing to your strengths, doing what you love to do, because you'll be able to stay consistent with it, even if it's monotonous and all that kind of stuff, and being fueled by something that deeply resonates within you and being motivated by that why.
Perfectly said. Love it. That's a great nugget. Everyone is on this webinar needs to hear, understand, do you consistently, and limit distractions and feed the focus. I'm telling you, you get thousands of emails and thousands of distractions, and everybody will list this and do that, whatever. It's so much distractions out there, and so much, to your point, Art, we're going to go to you. Negative stuff. Negative news sells better than positive news. I've been trying for literally 4 years. 4 years I've been working with our local station to get something positive on. I'm even willing to pay for it and promote it. It's tough because the news likes to live in the negative world because that's what sells. Sadly, that's what sells. Art, I think your mindset, talk about what's that one thing you want people to take away from what you gave a lot of information. We all did on just perspective, mindset, sphere of influences, teams. What's that one thing you want them to take away?
I have to go back to my mindset. Be positive. The book, The Magic of Thinking Big. Nobody ever accomplished anything bringing negative news, bringing bad news. Whether it's a sale, was a business deal, no one ever accomplished anything bringing bad news. 90% of success is mindset. Only 10% is skill. I mean, you have to be positive and surround yourself with people who are just positive and can reinforce that positive mindset that I can achieve, I can do it, I can win. I've already won. I think what Think and Grow Rich, it says a great warrior doesn't go into battle thinking he's going to win. He's going to battle knowing he's already won. He just doesn't know how he's going to win.
Funny you say that, because I interviewed, I had dinner with a guy named Justin Tucker, which is a kicker in the NFL, and he is with the Ravens. I'm a Baltimore Raven guy, and I had dinner and I asked him point blank, how do you make so many kicks? Number one in the NFL. He goes, how do I make so many kicks? He said, Craig, it's not about the act. It's about the visualization that I already made the kick, that I'm just doing the act of the kick that puts it through the goalpost. So it's amazing. That comes back to mindset. I love Magic of Thinking Big. I love the book. I think that's a great book. Think and Grow Rich, Napoleon Hill's all about, if you can conceive it, you can believe it, you can achieve it, right? That's really the principle of who and what he was about. Another great one. You're certainly reading her book, Readers are Leaders. You can see it, Art. Great job on that. Kelly, let's wrap it down with you. Any other thoughts? That nugget, you heard a couple great things, all you.
Yeah, absolutely. I think my biggest thing is accountability, right? I talked about being consistent, which is great until you have no motivation. So when you have accountability, then sometimes it's hard to be accountable to ourselves for the day. We're having a bad day. Art, you are a wonderful person, and not everyone is able to get to that accountability level with themselves that you are at. So until you're able to get to that level, be accountable to your organizations that you support, like Homes for Heroes or the local animal shelter or after school program or whatever it may be. Like Abby said, if you don't want to get up in the morning for you, go be accountable for those purposes. If you are a team, I'm accountable for my team members. If I'm not doing my job, then they can't do their job. So I have my team to be accountable for, and I feel that if you are a solo agent, find an accountability group. I think it's huge to just surround yourself with people that are not like you, so you can learn and you can grow and you can get ideas, and they can hold you accountable on the days that you're not being Art.
Being Art, I like that. I think accountability groups are very powerful. I think as teams, as individuals, as brokers, we have accountability groups. We're very passionate about that. I used to have accountability partners. You can even have just an accountability partner. I think my wife has one to go to the gym. You need that extra person, period. But let me be very clear. Here's the thing. I've been doing this for a long time. And what I've learned is, you got to get rid of the blames, the complaints, because nobody cares. And I think what it comes down to is, I always call it this, the thumb effect. The accountability falls on you. If the market, if it's not about the market, it's not about anything but what are you doing today that's going to make it better tomorrow? What are you doing today to make it better tomorrow? And I think that's where it comes back to the basics. What are you doing? You've heard plenty of great stuff today. That just, bunch of nuggets in there, a bunch of things that say, here's what you can do. Here's how they've been doing it. They're all very successful in what they do. You just got to do it. And it starts with you, and then maybe with another partner, find somebody that, maybe of like kind of business, find, doesn't have to be personally working with you on a team, makes it really nice. I highly recommend teams as well. Brokerages should also do this more. We're doing it in our brokerages just because we're all about training. Very important stuff, guys. What a great day. What a great day. Lots of great information. Really kind of redefine what basics means in the business. As I did promise, talk about the 10 top things that kind of drop it at the end. Handwritten notes we talk about, you got to do them. They mean so much about taking time and doing it. It shows you care and shows you actually value their time for reading it, your time for writing it, right? Highly recommend it, number one. Number two, touch and base, any way form. But again, the best form in anything you do is face-to-face. Emails are fine, texts are fine, calls are fine, but face-to-face is always the best. If indeed you can do that, that's where the Popeyes come by. 3, talk to satisfied clients, get the Zillow reviews, get whatever reviews. Doesn't have to be Zillow, it could be whatever. Get whatever testimonials, very powerful there. And I think people want to see what other people are saying about you. You don't go to a restaurant without reading the reviews traditionally, especially a new one. You don't go to a movie without reading the reviews. It's the same principle with real estate, okay? Number 4, set up your own VIP Facebook account. I already talked about that. It's important. It's another way to just talk to your own sphere in through social, and it's kind of like a special thing to do. Add 25 people to your database. Very important to do that. Every day you should be doing it. Every day you should have a newsletter that touches base. At least I do it weekly. You can do it monthly. Another way to keep people out there. Make an appointment every day. Accountability. Make an appointment every day. It's called RPA, revenue producing activity. Make an appointment every day, period. And I won't go home from anywhere, or whether it's my calls or whatever, until I create one appointment every day. 7, call a client you haven't talked to in 2 years. Call a client. Even in text, what happens is with text is we start texting and then it kind of drops to the bottom and you forget about that text. So go back to the text. Try a drill. Go back a year and start texting some people you haven't talked to in a while. And just say, I'm just thinking of you. No one's not going to respond to I'm just thinking about you. How you doing? We don't do it enough. It's a problem, right? Number 8, treat every client like you would your best friend. Fall in love with your clients. I have most of my clients have become my best friends. And I say that very passionately. 9, good things never come from being comfort zone, right? Get out of your comfort zone. You're all comfortable, pillows, blankets, whatever. You got to do something different to get different results, okay? And number 10, you got to block it out. It's called the 4-3-2-1 principle. 4 hours, you got to block time to do this. It doesn't work if you don't block the time to do it. 3, and then create a goal for yourself. 3 appointments out of that 4 hours, right? Start small, get bigger, right? Then get it to, out of the 3 other appointments, I'm going to close and convert 2 of them. And then 1 will be a double where you list and buy. It's a 4-3-2-1 principle, guys. It's just certain things. Hope you guide you. You guys are rock stars. It's been a phenomenal time. And again, and you'll see it in the video, share with everyone out there. It's timely. March Madness is here. It's not in basketball. It's also in real estate. And ultimately, what you do in March will make May the #1 month in real estate. And I've said it for 37 years. May is the #1 real estate, month in real estate. Why? Because we do make things happen in March. We do start reaching out to our clients. We do all the right things to make May that way. And you may sell your house and you may buy a house in May. So guys, again, thank you guys. Have a great Wow Wednesday. Ultimately, guys, it's been a pleasure. Thanks, Art. Thanks, Kelly. Thanks, Abby. Have a great day.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you.